she married my rich cousin, then learned the truth. He faked his entire wealth to win her. She found out on their wedding night. I still remember the exact sound of those church bells on that Saturday afternoon in October. Clear, slow, echoing through everything. The kind that feel less like celebration and more like some kind of countdown. I was standing at the back of the hall, near the entrance where the air still carried that mix of rain and fresh roses, watching my cousin Daniyal shake hands with the priest. He had that smile of his, the one that never quite reached his eyes. And right beside him, in a dress that looked straight out of a fairy tale, was the woman I'd spent 2 years quietly, completely, helplessly in love with. Nadia. I want to be careful talking about her, because people like Nadia don't come along every day, and I don't want to turn her into some kind of myth. She was real. Frustratingly, painfully real. She laughed too loud at terrible jokes. She cried at random commercials. She kept this journal she thought nobody knew about, but she always left it sitting on the kitchen counter. Being around her just made the world feel more interesting, you know? Like everything had a bit more color because she was in it. And I lost her. Not because of distance or time. I lost her to my own cousin. But here's the part I've never told anyone, not even my mother. I didn't just lose her. I was robbed. And by the time that wedding night ended, Nadia would start to understand exactly how. Let me take you back to where this really began. Not the wedding. Not even the first time I saw Nadia. Go back with me to a Tuesday evening about 3 years ago when Daniyal first returned from Dubai. He showed up with 4 suitcases, a flashy designer watch, and these stories that somehow got bigger every time he told them. In our family, success is basically currency, and Daniyal came back looking like he'd won the lottery. My aunts couldn't stop fawning over him. My uncles grilled him about investments, and my parents, without ever saying it straight, started comparing the two of us in every conversation that mentioned his name. I'm a school teacher. I teach literature to 14-year-olds at a government school on the edge of the city, and I've never been ashamed of it. But around Daniyal, with his imported shoes and talk of properties and offshore accounts, I could feel the silent ranking happening in every room we were in. He was 31. I was 29. We'd grown up in the same neighborhood, played cricket on the same narrow street, shared biryani from the same pot at every Eid. But that childhood brotherhood had faded somewhere along the way. Him abroad chasing money, me here becoming a quiet guy with chalk on his hands and a small apartment. I didn't resent him for the money. Not at first. What got to me, slowly and then all at once, was what he did with it. Nadia came into my life through a parent-teacher meeting, which sounds about as unromantic as it gets, but I wouldn't change a thing. Her younger brother Haroon was in my class, this difficult, brilliant kid who argued with everything I said and still scored the highest on every essay. She came alone because their parents were out of town, sat across from my desk, listened carefully, took notes in her little green notebook, then looked up and asked me, dead serious, "Do you actually like teaching, or is that just what you say to parents?" No one had ever asked me that before. We ended up talking 40 minutes past the meeting time. She laughed 3 times. I dropped some accidental clever line about Chekhov and saw her eyes light up with recognition. By the time she left, I knew I was in deep trouble. For the next few months, we kept this careful, almost formal friendship going. She'd show up at school events for Haroon. We swapped numbers for updates on him. Those messages got longer. Then one evening we stayed at a bookshop until closing, standing outside in the cold arguing about whether Gabriel Garcia Marquez was overrated, and I realized I was completely, irreversibly gone for her. I was going to tell her. I had it all planned out, embarrassingly detailed. I even wrote and rewrote what I wanted to say. But then came that family dinner where I casually mentioned her name, just as a friend, describing someone interesting, and Daniyal leaned in with way too much interest, asking about her family background. I should have seen that question for exactly what it was. The first time Daniyal actually met her was at a community event I took her to. I never thought I needed to guard anything. He was there with a couple of our cousins. He spotted her across the room, and within 20 minutes he'd crossed over. I watched it unfold like a slow-motion car crash. Horrifying detail, no way to stop it. Daniyal had this gift I never had. He could make someone feel like the most important person in the world in minutes. He leaned in when he listened, remembered little details, asked the right follow-ups, laughed at the perfect moments. Nadia wasn't immune. Why would she be? I never told her how I felt. To her, I was just her brother's teacher and a good friend. To Daniyal, she was clearly a target. I'm not calling her naive. I'm saying she didn't have the information she needed to protect herself. And yeah, that was partly on me. Over the next months, Daniyal went after her with this focused, money-backed attention I couldn't match. Dinners at places I couldn't afford. Flowers to her office. A weekend trip he organized for friends that she got invited to, but I didn't. One by one, the little spaces I'd built with her got taken over. She mentioned him to me once on the phone, in that careful way people do when they're starting to fall. Asked if I knew him well. I said yes. Asked if he was a good person. And I, God help me, told her he's family. I still don't know why I said that. Loyalty? Cowardice? Some stupid hope she'd pick me anyway without me having to fight? She didn't. 6 months after they met, they were engaged. The announcement hit me like a punch. I found out from a WhatsApp family group message. A photo of them holding up her hand with the ring catching the light, everyone flooding the comments with hearts and congratulations. I just put my phone face down and sat in my apartment for a long time, staring at nothing. The worst part wasn't even the grief. I could handle that. The worst was 3 weeks later when my older cousin Bilal came over. After 2 cups of tea and a lot of heavy silence, he told me something that flipped everything. Bilal was the family's quiet truth keeper, worked in banking, careful and honest in a way that made people either trust him or avoid him. He set his cup down, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "I need to tell you something about Daniyal's money." I waited. "There is no money," he said. "Not really. Not anymore." What Bilal told me that night took nearly an hour, and even then I only got the full picture later. The version I'm giving you now is pieced together from him, documents I eventually saw, and what Nadia discovered herself on her wedding night. Daniyal hadn't come back from Dubai rich. He was in serious debt, failed import business, heavy borrowing from shady lenders. He'd returned to Pakistan to rebuild his image and find an escape route. The watches, suits, fancy dinners, all financed on credit, small loans, stuff tied to property that wasn't really his. It was all an elaborate act with nothing solid underneath. And Nadia's family, especially her father, had agreed to the match based on that image. Her dad was a retired government man with modest savings and real worries about his daughter's future. Daniyal had sat there talking properties and investments, and they believed him. Bilal knew because a contact in banking had flagged Daniyal months earlier. He'd stayed quiet at first, unsure if it was his business. But watching the engagement and seeing Nadia's family make decisions on a lie finally pushed him to talk to me. I asked why he came to me. He gave me this quiet look and said, "Because you're the only one who actually cares about her." That line stayed with me for days. The weeks after that were messy. Part of me, and I'm not proud of it, felt this dark, twisted satisfaction at first. After watching him take her, there was bitter relief knowing it was built on sand. But that faded fast, replaced by something heavier. Nadia didn't know. Her family didn't know. They were walking into a collapse, and when it came, it would break her life more than his. Guys like him always find a soft landing. It's everyone around them who hits the ground hard. I wrestled with what to do for almost 2 weeks. Talked to Bilal, told no one else. Going straight to Nadia felt impossible. Who was I to her? The guy who never confessed and now wanted to blow everything up? Her family would see jealousy. Daniyal would spin it that way, and I'd look like the bitter cousin. I needed real proof, not rumors. Documents. It took 2 weeks of uncomfortable digging. Bilal helped. We got credit records, Dubai business filings showing the collapse and debts, a loan document for the private lender, and a Lahore property he always bragged about. Registry showed it was under his uncle's name. No claim. By the time I had it all, the wedding was 3 weeks away. I made my decision the night before. I want to be clear, I didn't do it for me. The jealousy had burned out. What was left was simpler. A woman I cared about was about to marry a liar, and I was the only one with the facts and the guts to speak up. I wrote her a letter, handwritten, laid out everything clearly, no drama. Listed the documents, didn't mention my feelings. Gave it to Haroon that night. and asked him to slip it to her privately before the ceremony. I didn't see what happened next directly. I stayed away from the main house that morning, but I heard the pieces later. From Haroon, from a family friend inside, from Nadia herself weeks after. She got the letter 2 hours before the ceremony, while getting ready in that small warm room at her aunt's that smelled like jasmine oil, hairspray, and nervous energy. She read it fast, then slow, sat there holding it for a long time. Her mother noticed something was off. Nadia blamed a headache, got water and a pill, but that maternal suspicion hung in the air. She went through with the ceremony somehow. She told me later she needed to see his face when she confronted him. Needed to be sure. The wedding happened. Photos, rice, smiles. Then, in the hotel suite that night, she put the letter and documents on the bed in front of him and watched. She said she didn't even need to speak. The second he saw the papers, something died in his expression. Not exactly guilt, more like his whole careful mask cracking. He tried explaining at first. Debts were being handled, property was temporary. He had big plans she didn't know yet. Talking fast, building new lies on the spot. She let him finish, then asked one question, was any of it real? He didn't answer right away. In that short, heavy silence, she got her answer. Nadia left the hotel that night. Quietly. No screaming. Just complete. Called Haroon. Took only the small bag she'd brought and walked out. Daniyal didn't stop her. By then, even he knew it was over. The weeks after chaos, Nadia's family went from devastated to furious to protective. Her father took it especially hard. The guilt of pushing the match sat heavy. My family was its own mess. Daniyal tried painting it as a conspiracy, throwing my name around. My mom called me worried. Some aunt stopped talking to me. One uncle pulled me aside later and just said, "You did the right thing," then walked off. I thought about Nadia all the time, but didn't reach out. It wasn't the time. She needed space. I went back to class. Taught. Read at night. Waited. She called me one Tuesday evening, 2 months later. Late October again. Her voice was quieter, more careful, like she was still figuring out how to stand without all that weight. She thanked me. Said she'd been searching for the right words, but decided to just say it straight. I told her I was sorry for everything. She said she didn't want sorry. She wasn't a victim. She'd made her choices. Then she asked why I never told her how I felt. Not to reopen anything, just genuine confusion. I paused, because I was afraid, and an idiot, and I thought the right person would win without me having to fight for it. She gave this short, tired laugh. Life doesn't work like that. No, I said, it really doesn't. We didn't rush into anything. No big romantic movie moment. Just coffee that turned into a habit. Long talks until midnight. Slow, careful rebuilding of what got interrupted before it really started. Daniyal's house of cards fell apart like expected. Debts came out. He left the city eventually. I don't think about him much. Bilal moved to Karachi. Before he left, we had dinner, and he said he was glad he told me. I said I was too, even if it was hell at the time. Haroon's in university now, studying law like I figured he would. He sent me a message once that I still keep. Said watching everything taught him integrity isn't loud or heroic on the inside. It's just doing the hard right thing and hoping it settles better. As for me, I'm still in my same apartment, same classroom, chalk on my hands. Still not rich. Still not planning to be. But I'm not embarrassed by my small, honest life anymore. Nadia came for dinner last Friday. Brought a book she thought I'd like, but I didn't, which sparked a 2-hour argument I actually enjoyed. Before she left, she stood in the doorway with that look she gets when something's settled in her mind and said, "You know what I figure out about you?" I waited. "You love things quietly," she said, without making a fuss or needing anyone to notice. That's rarer than it sounds. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. She left. I stood there in the quiet of my apartment, feeling like the waiting room I'd been living in was finally starting to feel like home. Some endings don't come with fireworks. They just slip in quietly, filling the space where things that were never meant to last finally fell away.